Assalamu alaikum everyone. Okay, first of all, before you guys say anything, my apologies for the delay. Basically, बहुत सी ऐसी चीज़ें completely beyond our control happened, so therefore the delay. ठीक है, but anyway, we are back live now. ठीक है, and inshallah अब मसला नहीं होगा. What happened to the previous stream? Well, क्या बताऊँ मैं आपको? So basically, एक साथ apparently 3 cables stopped working. ठीक है, एक साथ. And it took us a while to figure out what the issue was, but alhamdulillah we figured out the issue. We've arranged alternate cables and we have we're back live. ठीक है, so a lesson learned, and that is always have spare cables. ठीक है, although I always have spare cables, but recently I ran out. I didn't restock, but anyway, some lessons are learned the hard way. So here we are. ठीक है, अब जो हो गया सो हो गया. Now let's move on. अच्छा, अब आज का एजेंडा क्या है? आज का एजेंडा ये है कि we are inshallah going to do past paper questions of permutations and combinations. ठीक है? And another run through for paper 2. I think instead of that, I was thinking most likely I should keep a mock. What do you guys say? Don't you think I should keep a mock instead? Yeah, I was thinking maybe tomorrow we can keep a mock. Binomial topicals. I mean, binomial तो easy है यार. Binomial तो easy है. Binomial का मैं क्या हंसी आ रही है मुझे binomial का सुन के. So kindly answer my question, and that is whether equation of circle would be tested in P2. If it has been tested, then it won't be tested. Okay, if it has been tested, and I think there was a pretty decent question on equation of circle, so it's not going to be tested again, inshallah. ठीक है, but still go over it. ऐसे नहीं कि आप बिल्कुल ही उसको ignore कर दें. Just go over it to be on the safe side. But the trend is that if something is tested, then it's not retested, basically. ठीक है. अच्छा, anyway, so let's start. Let's not waste any more time. We are doing syllabus run through is not much useful. Yeah, because I've already done a syllabus run through. So why do you want me to do another syllabus run through? I mean, just watch that. That's it. All right. So, but I've made it. Okay, so guys, I've made a detailed video about what topics you can expect in paper 2. Okay, so please put in some effort. Watch that video. All right, it will help you and it will help me also. Okay, I won't have to answer the same question again and again. So please put in some effort. Okay, and watch that video. Anyway, so let's start. Let's start with past paper questions. So I'm gonna solve. So basically, there is no PDF to this. Okay. There is no PDF to this. Why? Because I didn't get time, first of all. And secondly, all you have to do is just download yearly past papers, which I'm sure you already have by now. And I'm just going to be solving them in a sequence. Okay? So I'm going to start with March 2020, paper 12. So find how many different 4-digit numbers. And also before I start, I'd really appreciate if you guys would like the stream and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Yeah, so we'll have another mock inshallah tomorrow. Find how many different 4-digit numbers can be formed using the digits 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 9 if each digit may be used only once in any number. Okay, so 4-digit numbers. All right, so that's condition number 1. And condition number 2 is that you may only use a digit once in any number. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how many options do we have? We have, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 options. That means in the first place, we have 6 options, and then we have 5 options, and then we have 4 options, and then we have 3 options. So 6 into 5, that's, okay, why am I not using a calculator? Let's work this out. 6 into 5 into 4 into 3, that's equal to 360. Take ho gaya. Acha, you could also do 6p4. You could also do 6p4. Why? Because you have a total of 6 options and you want to use 4 of them. So that means either way, you'll get the same answer. Okay? All right. Now, make mock super hard. Chale, I'll do that. Careful what you wish for though. But chale, I'll make it extremely difficult. Whoops. Find how many of the numbers found in part 1 are divisible by 5. Now, what's the condition for a number to be divisible by 5? There's only one, and that is the last digit should either be 5 or 0. Okay? So that means we only have 5, so we know for sure that the last place we're going to have 5. Okay? Now, so that means we have one option. अच्छा ये कौन कह रहा है कि बेटा डिटेल में मेरे चैनल पे नहीं है? किसने बोला बेटा नहीं है? I have a whole playlist of functions on my channel. Okay, so once again, please don't be lazy. Put in some effort. You'll find a playlist that I've uploaded recently on. Okay, and I've done multiple past paper streams also. Now, what about the remaining places? Now remember, we started with 6 digits, and how many are we down to? We're down to 5, and we have to arrange 3 of them. So that's 5p3. Okay, so 5p3 into 1, and what's that equal to? 5p3 into 1, that's equal to 60. Okay, easy 1 mark. All right, now listen, guys, I'm not going to all of a sudden change what I'm doing, and I'm going to take your request and start doing that. Okay, so might as well pay attention to what we're doing right now. Okay, there will be a mock, inshallah, tomorrow, and there will be streams, inshallah, in the coming days, so make sure to join that. Okay? So there's no point in saying, sir, ye kara dein, wo kara dein, wo kara dein. I'm not obviously going to change what I'm doing right now and say, oh, Falah Hazrat ne ye request kiya, to chalo ab main wo kara deta hu. Okay? Obviously, that's not going to happen right now. So I will try and include as many past paper streams or topical streams of topics that haven't been tested. Okay? Now, just focus on what we're doing. Find how many of the numbers found in part 1 are odd and greater than 7,000. Okay, so odd and greater than 7,000. So if you want to keep a number greater than 7,000, so that means the first digit, there's got to be a condition in the first digit, right? The first digit will be, could be 7, 8, or 9. Okay, so the first digit could be 7, 8, or 9. So that means we have 3 options. Okay, and at the same time, we have to make sure that the digit is odd. Okay, the whole number is odd. So that means we could have 3, 5, 7, or 9 as the last digit. Okay? Okay, so that means we have ourselves a conflict situation, and which is why it's a 4-mark question. Okay, now these are very straightforward. Yes, they carry a lot of marks, but honestly, they're easy marks. Why? Because the questions are pretty straightforward, and it's not like you have a lot of variations in these. So notice that we have a conflict situation, and the conflict situation is basically between 7 and 9. Why? Because we see 7 being in 2 places at the same time, which obviously is not possible. So this is a conflict situation. So no problem. Let's resolve this conflict. Okay. Tasalli se isko resolve karte hain. Now, let's fix 7 in the first place, then let's fix 8 in the first place, and then let's fix 9 in the first place. Simple. So let's start with 7. So if I fix 7 in the first place, that means there's only one option for the first place. Now for the last place, we could have 3, 5, or 9. We can't have 7 because 7 is already in the first place. So we can have 3, 5, or 9. So that means we have 3 options. Okay. Now remember, we started off with how many digits? We started off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. Now of the 6, we've used 2. Now we're down to 4. Okay. And we want to use 2 more. So that's 4p2. So that means 1 into 4p2 into 3. Let's see what do we get. So 1 into 4p2 into 3. What's that equal to? That's equal to 36. Okay. Now this is when we fixed 7 in the first place. Now let's fix 8 in the first place. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I fix 8 in the first place, once again, we have one option here. Now we could have 3, 5, 7, or even 9 in the last place. Okay, so that means now we have 4 options. Now once again, we started off with 6, we've used 2, now we're down to 4, and we want to use 2 more. So that's 4p2 into 4. Let's see what that is. 4p2 times 4, that's equal to 48. Okay, and then finally, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have 9 in the first place, which means we have one option. Okay, and in the last place, we could have 3, 5, or 7. Okay, so that means we have 3 options. Now, in between, once again, we have 4p2. So what's 1 into 4p2 into 3? That's equal to 36 again. So 36 plus 48 plus 36, what's that equal to? That's equal to 120. All right, there we go. All right, any questions, any important questions? Do you teach at any school? Nope, I don't teach at any school anymore. Sir, do you know any further math teacher? I'm afraid I don't. I don't think there's a lot of further math content on YouTube. Sir, can we take away the option of 7, 9 from the last place and fix them in the first place and multiply by 2? Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. Okay, you could do that. 4 factorial upon 2 factorial. बेटा आपकी ज़िंदगी में कम मसले हैं कम मसले हैं आपकी ज़िंदगी में, तो अब बेशक आप और मसलों का इजाफा कर लें ये उल्टे सीधे तरीक़ों से, बट कीप इट स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. ओके, कीप इट स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. देखो, what you can do is you can fix two numbers in the first place, but my suggestion is, here's my suggestion. My suggestion is always break it down and then do it. Okay, because I've seen students when they try and do multiple numbers at the same time, okay, they always end up messing. They always mess it up. Okay, so don't do that. Just do one number at a time to make your life easy. All right, now these kind of questions are, although non-calculator, but I'm still expecting them to come in paper 2. All right, I could be wrong, but I'm expecting them to show up in paper 2. Okay, so let's see what it says. Yeah, tomorrow most likely I will take another mock. Okay, guys, so relax. I will be taking another mock tomorrow, inshallah. Don't worry. The number of combinations of n items taken 3 at a time is 92n. Okay, which reminds me, I should make an announcement on Instagram. So first, let me solve this. The number of combinations of n items taken 3 at a time is 92n. So n items taken 3 at a time, that means NC3. What's that equal to? That's equal to 92n. Now, how would you open up NC3? NC3 would be n into n minus 1 into n minus 2. Remember, 3 numbers in the numerator starting from n, and every following number would be 1 less than n. And in the denominator, you got to have 3 factorial, TK, which is equal to 92n. Now, let's write this nicely. N into n minus 1 into n minus 2. 3 factorial means 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 6, is equals to 92n. N and n cancel. Now let's expand this. So we have n square minus 2n minus n plus 2 is equals to 92 times 6. Let's see what that's equal to. That's equal to 552. Okay, let's move all the terms to the left-hand side. Let's see what do we get. So we get n square minus 3n minus 550 equals to 0. I'm going to save some time. Okay. I'm going to save some time and I'm just going to solve this directly using a calculator. So once you factorize this, I think you will get n minus 25 and n plus 22. Yeah, equals to 0. Okay, so I've just saved some time. And the value of n is equals to 25 or n is equals to minus 22. Now notice the question may not even ask you to write down the positive value, but it's understood that since we're talking about objects, we're talking about physical objects, it can only be a positive number. Can't be a negative number. Okay, so I just saved some time by skipping a few steps. So 1 second. Just give me a minute. All right. So, before I stop in a message here, so कोई एक message type कर दो, मैं उसको pin कर दूँगा. ठीक है, save some time. एक message type कर दो, मैं pin कर दूँगा. अच्छा, ये था March 2020. All right. March के बाद क्या आता है? March के बाद आता है May June. So May June का पेपर खोलते हैं. अच्छा जी, पेपर 11 में कोई सवाल है APGP का? Sorry, APGP कह रहा हूँ. Permutations, combinations. Nope. पेपर 12 में देखते हैं. Yeah, here it is. Okay, another number related question. Let's see what it says. Why did you stop teaching? I'm still teaching. What do you mean, why did I stop teaching? What am I doing right now? Okay, pin message. ठीक है. उमर बेटा मॉक टुमारो, ये तो मैं भी लिख सकता था, पूरी आपने डिटेल्स के साथ लिखना था ना. 7:30 PM tomorrow Pakistan time. खैर, find how many different 5-digit numbers can be formed using the digits 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 and 8 if each digit may be used only once in any number. Okay, so once again, very simple. it says 5-digit number. How many digits do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. ठीक है, I think वही सवाल है, बस थोड़ा सा order change हो गया, numbers change हो गया. So we have 6 options and we have to make, okay, no, we have to make a 5-digit number. Sorry, I thought we had to make a 4-digit number. We have to make a 5-digit number now. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that means the answer would simply be 6B5. That's it. What's that equal to? Yeah, you know about mock tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Pakistan time. Super hard. Yeah, that I like. So now I'll pin this message. Okay, so 6B5, what's that equal to? That's equal to 720. There you go. All right. How many of the numbers found in part 1 are not divisible by 5? All right, so what you can do is you can first find out the numbers that are divisible by 5 and then subtract that from the total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now if you want to make a number divisible by 5, in the end, you got to have a 5. That's non-negotiable. Okay, so we started off with 6 numbers. Now we have used 1, so that means now we're down to 5 and we have to use 4. So that's 5p4. Okay, so 5p4 into 1, so that's equal to 120. So 120 numbers are divisible by 5. That means 720 is the total. So 720 minus 120, what's that equal to? That's equal to 600. So there are 600 numbers that are not divisible by 5. So I was messaging you on Instagram and you didn't reply to me. So beta dobara bhej the message. I'll get back to you inshallah. How many of the numbers found in part 1 are even and greater than 30,000? Okay, I love these kind of questions, honestly, because they're so straightforward and also easy. And at the same time, they carry a lot of marks. So win-win situation. So even and greater than 30,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5-digit numbers that are even and at the same time greater than 30,000. So if I try and make a number greater than 30,000, that means I could have 3 in the first place, I could have 5 in the first place, I could have 7 in the first place, or I could have 8 in the first place. Okay? In the last place, I could have 2 or 8. Yeah, that's it. These are the only 2 numbers that we have. So we clearly have a conflict situation. Okay, we clearly have a conflict situation, and the conflict is between the 8. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. See where we have less numbers. We have fewer numbers in the last place. So that means what we're going to do is I'm going to one by one fix 2 as the last digit. Then I'm going to fix 8 as the last digit. Okay, make life easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's fix 2 as the last digit. So that means that's just one number. Okay, now if 2 is the last digit, that means we could have 3, 5, 7, or even 8 as the last digit. So that means we have 4 options. Okay. Acha, here we started off with how many numbers? We started off with 6. Now we have used 2, so that means we're down to 4 and we have room for 3. So 4p3. So 4 into 4p3 into 1. So 4 into 4p3, that's equal to what? That's equal to 96. Okay, now let's fix 8 as the last digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if I fix 8 as the last digit, so once again, that's one option. That means now I can have 3, 5, 7, 6 to 9. No, 3, 5, 7 as the first digit. So that means we have 3 options. Okay. And how many digits did we start with? We started with 6 digits. Now we're down to 4 and we have room for 3. So once again, 4p3 times 3. Okay, so let's see what do we get. 3 times 4p3, that's equal to 72. So 72 plus 96, what's that equal to? That's equal to 168. There you go. ठीक हो गया? Easy है? There is no worksheet, guys. There is no worksheet. I think I mentioned that. Why? Because reason why there is no worksheet is because I didn't compile it. Okay, so just open yearly past papers. I'm taking out relevant questions and solving them in a sequence. ठीक है? अच्छा, factorial देखो, factorial याद रखो, factorial हम use करते हैं जब when we have an equal number of places. Okay, when we have an equal number of places and equal amount of numbers. So if let's say there are 5 numbers and you wish to arrange all 5 of them, okay, in a straight line, so that would be 5 factorial, straightforward. ठीक हो गया? So I hope that's clear. Okay, now let's move on. Beta, please watch the video in which I've talked about what are all the topics that you can expect in paper 2. Okay, now I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think paper 1 was not that difficult. Okay, So I'm expecting paper 2 to be difficult, so please prepare for the worst. Simple as that. Excuse me, sir, why didn't you use 8? Because I've already used 8 in the last place. Since I've already used 8 in the last place, so that means I can't use 8 in the first place anymore. Okay. Now, the number of combinations of n items taken 3 at a time is 6 times the number of combinations of n items taken 2 at a time. Simple. So, n items taken 3 at a time, that's NC3, is equals to 6 times the number of n items taken 2 at a time. So, that's NC2. Now, NC3 is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 upon 3 factorial, which, by the way, is equal to 6, is equal to 6 times NC2, which is n into n minus 1 upon 2 factorial. Okay, so 3 factorial is equal to 6. 2 factorial is just as good as 2. All right, we can cross out n into n minus 1 with n into n minus 1. So thankfully, we're not dealing with a quadratic equation anymore. All we have is basically n minus 2. Oh, wait a minute. मैं इसको ऐसे थोड़ी cancel कर सकता हूँ. 3 factorial और 6 को ऐसे थोड़ी cancel कर सकता हूँ. ये तो एक numerator में एक denominator में. I can't cancel it like this. Okay. So here's what I can do, however, since 2 factorial is basically equal to 2, 2 1s are, 2 3s are, okay, and 3 factorial times 3, 3 factorial 6, 6 times 3 is equals to 18. Okay, so that means n is equals to 20. That's your answer. Okay, and you're getting 4 marks for this. Wow. What a lucky bunch of students who are getting 4 marks for this. वैसे ये पेपर किसी ने भी नहीं दिया था क्योंकि ये कोविड की वजह से कैंसिल हो गया था. But anyway, lucky nonetheless. All right, let's see if there's a question in variant 3. Okay, variant 11 में नहीं था, so most likely 21 में होगा. All right, let's do this. But I've talked, like I said, Ibtisam, please stop being lazy. I made a video on it, okay, talking about all the topics that have appeared in paper 1 and what topics you can expect in paper 2. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Whether you should practice topics that have appeared or not, okay, be smart about it and figure it out yourself. Okay, now, in an examination, candidates must select. Now, what's the keyword in this question? What's the keyword in this question, which will basically tell us whether it's permutations or combinations? You can read the question and tell me. The keyword in this question is basically select. All right. Select basically tells us what? Select tells us that this is combination. Simple as that. So I don't know why people are still confused about how to decide whether to use permutation or combination. The keyword is select. Simple as that. Okay, also use a bit of your common sense if you're talking about arranging numbers. Now, when it comes to arranging numbers, that means if you change the order, it's a different number. So if you're in a situation, or if the context of the question is such that if you change the order, you end up with something else, that means that it's permutation. But if you change the order and it really doesn't change the outcomes, that means it's combination. Simple as that. In an examination, candidates must select 2 questions from the 5 questions in section A and select 4 questions from the 8 questions in section B. Find the number of ways in which this can be done. Simple as that. So if we're talking about section A, so as far as section A is concerned, in section A, there are 5 questions of which candidates have to select 2. Okay? And then when it comes to section B, there are 8 questions to select from and they have to select 4. Now, these are 2 different tasks and we are doing them all at once. So that means we'll multiply. Okay, when it's the same task, which can be done different ways, so we add. So 5C2 into 8C4, what's that equal to? That's equal to 700. Simple. Okay. All right. Now, the digits of the number 6,378,129 are to be arranged so that the resulting 7-digit number is even. Find the number of ways in which this can be done. So it's just a fancy way of saying that these are so and so many digits, arrange them and find out the number of ways, or find out how many even numbers are there. Simple as that. Okay. So the question is just trying to be creative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now, if you wish to make this number even, that means you could have 2 as the last digit, you could have 6 as the last digit, or you could have 8 as the last digit. Okay, and that's it. That's the only condition that you have to make sure of. You have to make sure that the number is even. Okay, you don't have to make sure whether it's greater than so and so. No, the only condition is that the 7-digit number is even. Okay. Acha. Now, beta Daniel, first of all, क्या सवाल है आपका? I'm having 3 months. Can you give? Beta, this is not the right time to ask. ठीक है, अभी आप chill करें. You've earned your right to relax. ठीक है. Now, जिन लोगों का exam है उनको पढ़ने दें. ठीक है. Now, for the last place we have 3 options. ठीक है. And for the first 6 places, since there are 6 numbers, okay, so those of you who are asking, when do we use factorial? Here's your answer. So we have 6 digits, right? And we have to arrange all 6 of them. So that means I can easily do 6 factorial. Okay, because we have 6 digits and we have to arrange all 6 of them. So that means 6 factorial. So 6 factorial into 3, let's see what that gives us. 6 factorial times 3, that's equal to 2160. There you go. Job done. All right. Now, stream 7:33. हाँ बेटा बिल्कुल थी stream 7:30. I've explained why it got delayed. ठीक है. अच्छा, now let's do winter. अच्छा, अब एक काम करते हैं. पहले हम सारे ना पहले सारे मार्च कर लेंगे. ठीक है, इस तरह से स्विच करने में ना टाइम ज़ाया हो रहा है. तो आफ्टर we're done with 2020, फिर हम सारे मार्च वाली सीरीज़ कर लेंगे, फिर बाकी सारी सीरीज़ कर लेंगे. चलिए, ये अच्छा सवाल आ गया. Find how many different 4-digit numbers can be formed using the digits 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Each digit may be used only once in any 4-digit number. Okay, so that's it. That's a pretty straightforward question. 6p4. Okay, whatever that is equal to. Spice up the questions. Yeah, I'm thinking to do that. वैसे. How many of these 4-digit numbers are even and greater than 6,000? अच्छा, अब इसको skip करते हैं. ठीक है, ये काफ़ी easy है. ज़रा थोड़े मुश्किल questions करते हैं. Yeah, let's do this. A committee of 5 people is to be formed from 6 doctors, 4 dentists, and 3 nurses. Find the number of different committees that could be formed if there are no restrictions. All right, so if there are no restrictions, that means you want 5 people. It doesn't matter how many nurses you have, how many doctors you have, how many dentists you have. Okay, you just have to make sure that you have 5 people. Achha, also, what are we trying to make over here? We're trying to make a committee. Committee is kind of like a team. Okay, a committee is kind of like a team. So that means this is permutation. Is that correct? P or C same hota hai. But I hope you're joking. Okay, I hope you're joking. 13C5 is the correct answer. Okay, but what are we trying to do over here? Combination. Okay, this is combination. Whenever you're selecting, whenever you're making a team, a committee in which there's no merit. Okay, merit ka matlab koi rank nahi hai. So that means it's combination. Okay. So there are a total of how many people? There are a total of 13 people, of which you have to select 5. From which you have to select 5. So that's 13C5. That's it. 13C5. What's that equal to? That's equal to 1,287. That's it. Job done. Okay. Now, the committee contains at least 1 doctor. All right. At least 1 doctor ka matlab hai there can be 1 doctor, 2 doctors, 3, 4, 5, or even 5 doctors. Okay. So अब हम एक काम करते हैं. अब हम बनाते हैं एक कॉलम फॉर डॉक्टर्स. ठीक है. टोटल जो कि 6 हैं. सही है. एंड देन वी हैव डेंटिस्ट्स एंड नर्सेस. ठीक है. इनको हम एक ही कैटेगरी कंसिडर कर लेते हैं. सो डेंटिस्ट एंड नर्सेस टुगेदर आर बेसिकली 7. All right. So if there's at least 1 doctor, at least basically means greater than or equal to 1. Okay. At least 1 doctor basically means greater than or equal to 1. So if there is 1 doctor, that means the remaining 4 people will have to come from dentists and nurses. Okay. Now how can you do that? You can do that through 6C1 into 7C4. Okay. Now what if there are 2 doctors? At least 1 doctor means that you could have 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So what's that equal to? That would be equal to 6C2. And what about the remaining 3 people? The remaining 3 people will come from. Okay, you guys have figured out the shortcut already. Okay, I was going to come to that after that. I was going to come to that after doing it the longer way. But you figured it out already, so that's great. But let's do it the longer way also. Okay, and then let's have 3 doctors, which means we'll have 2 of these. So that would be 6C3 into 7C2. Okay, and then we can have 4 doctors and 1 of these. So that would be 6C4 into 7C1. And you can clearly see the problem with this. The problem with this is that for 2 marks, it doesn't make sense. Okay, for 2 marks, it doesn't make sense because there's a lot of working. Okay, but here's my advice. If let's say you can't think of the shortcut in the exam, because in exam the conditions will be different. Okay, in exams the condition will be different. Okay, your brain may not encourage you to take a lot of risk, because if you're using a shortcut, we kind of feel like there's a risk attached to it. Okay, so you may not feel that comfortable using a shortcut. So if in the exam you want to avoid using the shortcut, then that's perfectly all right. Okay, what's important is that you get the question right. So even if let's say you have to spend like an extra minute or 2, that's perfectly all right. And shortcut से ठीक है हमारी working थोड़ी बच जाएगी, लेकिन time ज़्यादा सा तो 2 मिनट बच जाएंगे. Okay, so at max you'll be able to save like 2 minutes if you use a shortcut. Okay, so please don't be afraid of doing it the longer way if that is the way that you are convinced. Okay, if the longer way is the most convincing way, then please do it the longer way only. So 6 plus 105 plus 420 plus 525 plus 210, that's equal to 1266. Okay, now what's the shortcut? Let's have a look at the shortcut. The shortcut is that at least, what's the opposite of at least one doctor? Opposite of at least one doctor is no doctor. Okay, so total minus no doc is equal to at least one doc. Okay, now the question has made us find out the total, which is 13C5. Now, no doc basically means that you will select the 5 people from the dentists and nurses. Okay, so let's see what's that equal to. That's equal to 13C5, sorry, not into, minus 13C5 minus 7C5. Let's see if we get the same answer. Yep, we get the exact same answer, 1266. Okay, so this is a shortcut. ठीक है, shortcut आप जब भी use करें when you're 100% convinced. Okay, अच्छा, but remember ये at least one, ये तो understood है, ये तो हम math में भी use करते हैं. Okay, that at least one is red, at least one is blue. What does that mean? That means 1 minus no blue. Okay. Sir, please reply to my damn query. Well, if it's damned, why should I reply to it? Okay, what's your damn query? बेटा रोने के बजाय ज़रा वो भेज, दोबारा अपनी क्वेरी भेज दिया करें ना. एक तो मैं ढूंढ नहीं रहा आपकी क्वेरी. Just send your damn query again. Okay, the committee contains all the nurses. All right, if the committee contains all the nurses, so that means we got to have all the nurses. So how do we make sure that we include these 3 nurses? So that's 3C3. Okay, but what about the remaining 2 people? The remaining 2 people will come from either doctors or dentists. So that means they will come from the remaining 10 people. So that's 10C2. Okay, so 3C3 into 10C2. What's that equal to? That's equal to 45. There you go. That's the answer. Is that it? That's it. Achha, here's what we're going to do. First, let's complete all the questions from the winter series. Then we will just stick to one series and complete all questions from there. I'm good, alhamdulillah. बड़े जल्दी ख्याल आ गया आप लोगों को. खैर, find the number of ways in which 12 people can be put into 3 groups containing 3, 4, and 5 people respectively. All right, so 3, 4, and 5 people respectively. So that means first we make a group of 3, so that's 12C3. Okay, then we are down to how many people? We're down to 9 people. So we're going to put them in a group of 4, so that's 9C4. Now we're down to how many people? We're down to 5 people, so that's 5C5. Okay, now you can do this in, although the question says respectively, but even if you change the order, you'll still get the same answer. 12C3 into 9C4 into 5C5, what's that equal to? That's equal to 27,720. 27,720. All right, part B. Part B says 4-digit numbers are to be formed using 4 of the digits 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9. Each digit may be used only once in any 4-digit number. Find how many 4-digit numbers can be formed. अच्छा अब इनको skip करते हैं, ठीक है? अब let's skip these, ठीक है? Because these are very easy. And if I do come across a tricky question like this, I will let you guys know. Achha, so there was a permutation combination question in variant 11. Let's see. And there was a permutation combination question in variant 12. So that means there will be no permutation combination question in variant 13. Oh, sorry, variant 21 and 22. Okay, but because there is no permutation combination question in variant 13, so that means there's got to be in variant 23. Okay, that's how it works. If you've solved enough past papers, you would know that. Okay, but if you haven't solved enough past papers, तो तब भी आप पूछ ही रहे होंगे कि कौन सा question किस paper में आता है. Okay, here we go. A 4-digit number is to be formed using 4 different numbers selected. Fine. There are no restrictions. Only prime numbers are used. 2 even numbers are followed by 2 odd numbers. Easy. The code forms an even number. Yep, easy. So let's see if there's a combination question. Okay, no combination question. All right. So now let's go back. ठीक है, अब हम करते हैं सारे March की series के questions. So let's do March 21. Expected threshold. मेरे ख्याल में judging by the difficulty level of the paper, I think 75, 78 out of 80 तो होना चाहिए. क्या ख्याल है आप लोगों का? A photographer takes 12 different. So I think that mocks will be more helpful than topical streams. Yeah, I am doing a mock tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Acha. So a photographer takes 12 different photographs. There are 3 of sunsets. Please tell me you're joking. तो बेटा क्यों पूछता है ऐसे सवाल? जब आपको पता है I don't do any expected threshold, expected paper or anything of that sort. ठीक है? So you know that I don't answer these kind of questions, so avoid asking me such questions. The photographs are arranged in a line on a wall. How many possible arrangements are there if there are no restrictions? All right, no restrictions. So that also notice that the question says that there are 12 photographs. Okay, so 12 different photographs. That means they're all different. So we don't have to worry about repetition. So we're not going to divide by the factorial of anything. So 12 factorial is the answer. Okay, wow. ये तो काफ़ी भयानक सा आंसर है. चलें लिख लेते हैं, कोई बात नहीं. So 479001600. Okay, please don't round off this answer because it's an exact answer. So this is 479,001,600. So still hasn't replied. बेटा उसने रोना शुरू कर दिया, उसने अपनी कोई query दोबारा भेजी नहीं. कहाँ है वो? Where is his damn query? Okay, he's probably regretting saying that. Okay, so anyway. If you have a query, just please send it again instead of crying about it. So I have my CIA in November. Just started D4. Possible to get an A. D4? You mean book 4? Solve past papers. Past papers will tell you where you stand. I can't tell you that. Okay, I don't know what your preparation is like. Solve past papers, see if you're able to solve them. And if you are, then that's great. How many possible arrangements are there if the first photograph is of a sunset and the last photograph is of an ocean? All right, so first is of a sunset and the last is of an ocean. All right, so here's the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So as far as the first photograph is concerned, since the first photograph is to be of a sunset, so that means we have 3 options. Okay, and the last photograph has to be of an ocean, so that means there are 4 options. Okay, now in between, we have 10 options, and these 10 options can be arranged 10 factorial number of ways. So there you go. So 3 times 10 factorial times 4. Let's see what's that equal to. So 3 times 10 factorial times 4, that's equal to, once again, a huge answer, 435,45600. 45600. So that means 43,545,600. Okay, now 3 of the photographs are to be selected for a competition. Okay, now what are we entering into? We are entering into combination territory. How do I know that? Because now we're talking about selecting objects. So we know that this is combination, okay? Earlier we were talking about arranging them. ठीक है, so we were. अच्छा बेटा, आपका अभी पेपर नहीं है ना, तो आप प्लीज़ जाएं. अक्टूबर नवंबर में आपका पेपर है, तो आप अभी जो पढ़ रहे हैं, जिनका पेपर है, उनको प्लीज़ तंग ना करें, ठीक है? डोंट मेक मी हाइड यू, आई डोंट वांट टू डू दैट. सो प्लीज़, नो irrelevant questions. Find the number of different possible selections if no photograph of a sunset is chosen. All right, no photograph of a sunset is chosen. So that means we are choosing from oceans and mountains, so that's 9 photographs. And from the 9 photographs, we have to choose 3. So that's 9C3. But there is no integration by parts. Okay, there is no integration by parts. All right, that was probably a hence find question. Okay, what you're talking about was probably a hence find question, where you had to use differentiation from the previous part to solve it. Did I skip something? Oh yeah, I skipped something. I skipped part 3. Let's do that. How many possible arrangements are there if all the photographs of mountains are next to each other? Okay, no problem. Make 12 blocks. Make 12 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. ठीक हो गया? Okay, we're talking about mountains. So there are 5 pictures of mountains, 5 photographs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now they have to be together, but they can shuffle amongst themselves. So that would be 5 factorial. Okay, I've already answered your question. There is no integration by parts in ADMATS. That was probably a hence find question. Okay, so please stop spamming and pay attention. Now, as far as the rest of the photographs are concerned, we don't care how they arrange themselves. Okay, but the only thing that we care about is that the photographs of mountains are next to each other. Okay, so we've put them in a box. Now, 5 factorial for what's happening inside the box. For outside the box, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 factorial. So 5 factorial times 8 factorial. Okay, because these 5 pictures can be together, but they can be anywhere. So 5 factorial times 8 factorial, what's that equal to? That's equal to 483,8400. Okay, so 4,838,400. Sir, can there be a question when you choose permutation and combination at the same time? There have been cases, but not in ADMATS. Not in ADMATS. ठीक है, ऐसा A levels में होता है, but not in ADMATS. Find the number of different possible selections if one photograph of each type, sunset, ocean, mountain, is chosen. Okay, now remember, we are selecting 3. So that means we don't even have to come up with multiple possibilities. Okay, so there's only going to be one way that we can select one photograph of each type. So that's 1 of sunset, so that's 3C1. Okay, so this is sunset. And then 4 of oceans. Okay, so from the 4 we have to select 1, so that's 4C1. And then what's the last? The last is mountains. And from 5 mountains we have to select 1, so that's 5C1. Let's see what's that equal to. बेटा इंटीग्रेशन बाय पार्ट्स नहीं है, ठीक है. अब मैं आपको और किस तरह बताऊं, ठीक है. आप probably maybe you're solving some other paper, ठीक है, but there is no integration by parts, ठीक है. I've probably solved that paper you're talking about last year and the year before and the year before that. I've never used integration by parts in ADMATS, ठीक है. So I don't know, maybe you're looking at some other paper or you're looking at the wrong marking scheme, one of the two, ठीक है. But I can guarantee you there is no integration by parts in ADMATS. Okay, now please stop wasting your time and everybody else's time. Okay, now let's do March 22. Let's see if there's a permutation combination question in this variant. No, there isn't. Okay. Now let's have a look at paper 22. Paper 1 में नहीं है, तो paper 2 में तो लाजमी होगा. Here it is. Okay, just a second. Just a minute. Question number 3. Okay, let's see what this question says. This question says, a group of students, 4 girls and 3 boys stand in a line. Find the number of different ways the students can stand in line if there are no restrictions. Okay. Find the number of different ways the students can stand in line if there are no restrictions. So that's 7 factorial. Let's see what's that equal to. 7 factorial, that's equal to 5040. Okay, now find the number of different ways the students can stand in a line if the 3 boys are next to each other. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So whenever you have a case where maybe some people stand next to each other or some objects are next to each other, you put them in a box. Okay. Sir, आज किसकी नज़र लगी है आपके सब कुछ को? किसकी नज़र लगी है? What do you mean? So 3 factorial, all right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 factorial, and then 5 factorial for these boys as a unit. They can be anywhere, okay, and the remaining 4 girls. So this 5 factorial is basically for all the boys who are standing together, and the remaining 4 girls, they can shuffle because we have to take into account how they can be arranged. So let's see what this is equal to. So 3 factorial into 5 factorial, that's equal to 720. There we go. Okay. C and D are 2 of the girls. Find the number of ways the students can stand in line if C and D are not next to each other. Okay, so before you find out how they're not next to each other, let's find out how how many ways C and D are together or are next to each other. Okay, and then we'll subtract that from the total. Okay, so total minus the number of ways that C and D's are together. Now, how many people are we talking about? We're talking about 7 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now C and D are 2 people, and we have to make sure that they stand together, so we put them in a box. So that's 2 factorial. So you can, outside the box, what's happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 objects that we have to arrange, which means 6 factorial. So 2 factorial into 6 factorial, what's that equal to? Let's work it out. So 2 factorial times 6 factorial, that's equal to 1440. Okay, now what was the total? The total was 5040. So 5040 minus 1440, what's that equal to? 5040 minus answer, that's equal to 3600. 3600. Okay. बेटा मैंने उसको हाइड कर दिया, ठीक है? So he's probably not going to respond anymore. Yeah, I think he was just wasting everybody else's time. Anyway. Now, let's move on. Let's do the next question. Let's do March 23. Okay. A 5-character password is to be formed from the following 13 characters. All right. No character may be used more than once in any password. Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about password. Now, if let's say the code to unlock your phone is 1, 2, 3, 4. That means if you change the order, even though you might get the digits right, but if you change the order, it's a different code. Okay? Which means that this is permutation. Okay? Now, no character may be used more than once in any password. Find the number of possible passwords that can be formed. Now we're talking about 5-character password from 13 characters. Okay, and there's no restriction. So that would be 13P5. That's it. Okay, now question, examiner आपको बताएगा नहीं कि this is permutation. You have to figure it out yourself. Okay, what are we making here? We're making a password. And in a password, if you change the order, that means we're talking about a different password. Okay, so that means this is permutation. Find the number of possible passwords that contain at least one symbol. Okay, so you could have 1 symbol, you could have 2 symbols, or you could have 3 symbols. Okay, so let's work it out. So now what if you have 1 symbol? if you have one symbol, so that would be 1 2 3 4 5. ठीक है. So if the password contains one symbol, okay, just a second. Yeah, I'm thinking कि अगर हम no symbol करके देखें, but ये arrangement के बारे में बात हो रही है. ठहरो, let me think. Total minus no symbol. हाँ, मैं भी यही सोच रहा हूँ, लेकिन that works in combinations. Let me think. How many do we have? We have 10. ठीक है, we have 10. If we remove the symbols, we pick 5, and we've already done the total. Yeah, ठीक है, सही है. So एक काम करते हैं. Let's find out the number of ways that we can form a password if we use no symbol. Okay, so let's form a password in which we use no symbol. So total minus no symbol. Now we have 1 2 3 4 5 10, so that's 10p5. Okay, so this is for no symbol. What's that equal to? 10p5, that's equal to 30,240. Okay, now let's subtract this from the total. 154,440 minus 30,240. Let's see what's that equal to. 154,440 minus answer. That's equal to 124,200. 124,200. ठीक है. It does work. Sorry, I confused it with something else. It does work. ठीक है. Anyway, now given that 16 times nc12 equals to n minus 10 into n plus 1 C11. Okay, so here we will use the formula. Okay, here we will use the formula of NCR, which by the way is equal to n factorial upon n minus r factorial into r factorial. Why? Because if we write the expansion of NC12, that's going to take a while. Okay, and we don't have a lot of space. Even if we do have a lot of space, that's not a wise way of solving it. Instead, we're going to do the formula of NCR. Okay, so that's 16. Yeah, exactly. 12 is a huge number. So that means n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 all the way to n minus 11. Okay? So n factorial over n minus 12 factorial into 12 factorial. Okay? Is equals to n minus 10 into n plus 1 C11. So that would be n plus 1 factorial upon n plus 1 minus 11 factorial. Okay, we'll fix this in the next step into 11 factorial. ठीक है. अच्छा, अब हमने ज़रा थोड़ा, we have to be a little smart here. Okay, we have to be a little smart here. How exactly are we going to do that? Here's how we're going to do that. Pay attention. So first of all, notice that 12 factorial can be written as 12 factorial into 11 factorial. Number one. Number two, n plus 1 factorial, if I expand this can be written as n plus 1 into n factorial. Okay, so n plus 1 factorial can be written as n plus 1 into n factorial. Okay, and this will become n minus 10 factorial. Okay, also n minus 12 factorial can be written as n minus 12 into n minus 11 into n minus 10 factorial. Okay, so I hope everyone's following. Now this is what I'm going to do, so pay close attention. So 16 as it is into n factorial as it is. Now as far as the denominator is concerned, we have n minus 12 factorial, which can be written as n into n minus 12 factorial, which can be written as n minus 12 factorial. अच्छा नहीं, इसको ऐसे ही रहने देते हैं. n minus 12 factorial को n minus 12 factorial ही रहने देते हैं. This, however, we can write as 12 into 11 factorial. ठीक है, equals to n minus 10 into n plus 1 into n factorial. It's a 3-mark question, so that means there is a decent amount of working that's required. Divided by, we have n minus 10 factorial. Acha, we can expand this in the next step if you guys want, or we can do it in the same step. Okay, into 11 factorial. In fact, let's expand it in the next step. So 11 factorial and 11 factorial cancels. N factorial and n factorial cancels. Anything else that we can cancel? No, not yet. Okay, so let's carry on. So we have 16. Yeah, simplify kar lete hain. So let's simplify 16 and 12. So 4 4s are 16, 4 3s are 12. Okay, so we have 4 in the numerator. In the denominator, we have n minus 12 factorial, which we'll leave as it is, times 3. Here, however, we have n minus 10. Okay, you can't cancel n minus 10 because it's not n minus 10 factorial, is it? No, it's not n minus 10 factorial. Okay, and don't forget that there is a n plus 1 also in the numerator. Now, in the denominator, here's what we can do. We can write this as n minus 10, n minus 11, into n minus 12 factorial. Okay, so n minus 12 factorial cancels with n minus 12 factorial. N minus 10 also cancels with n minus 10, and we don't even have to deal with a quadratic equation anymore. Okay, so that means 4 into n minus 11 okay, is equals to 3 into Achha, we still have n plus 1. Achha, n minus 10 to cancel ho gaya. Okay, so we have 3 times n plus 1. Okay, so that means 4n minus 44 is equals to 3n plus 3. So n is equals to 44 plus 3, which is equal to 47. There you go. Okay, और अगर आपके पास पेपर में time हो, ठीक है, if you guys have time in the paper, here's what my advice is. My advice is that you plug in this value of n. Okay, you plug in this value of n here, and then you see if it's equal to or not. Like, for example, you work this out using the value of n that you found. Okay, see what you get on the left-hand side. Then plug in the value of n here, work this out, see if both sides hold up. If both sides hold up, that means you've done it correctly. Okay. Okay, so that was that. Now, was there permutation in this? Yeah, there was permutation as well as combination. So that means there's not going to be a question of permutation combination in 2020 in the other variant. If you proceed with the unsimplified version, yeah, definitely. If you proceed with the unsimplified version, you will end up making your life more difficult than it is already. Okay, now let's have a look at. Great. Achha, let's see. Achha, I'm not going to solve this number type question. That's fairly easy. Let's do this. A team of 9 people is to be chosen. Okay, chosen. Chosen means, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with combination. This stream, yahan 12 tak hi jayegi most likely. Okay, so we're dealing with combination. Find how many possible teams include at least 2 doctors, at least 2 dentists, and at least 2 nurses. Okay, it's a 3-mark question. That means there's probably multiple variations that we have to consider. Okay, now remember that we have to include 9 people. Okay. And we have 6 doctors to choose from. So as far as the doctors are concerned, there are 6. We have, okay, so since doctor bhi D se aata hai, dentist bhi D se aata hai, so let's write this as doc. Let's write this as den. And let's write the nurses as NUR. Okay. Hey, Fatin वापस आ गया? Didn't I hide you, Fatin? Okay, no, it was someone else. Now, a team of 9 people is to be chosen from 6 doctors, 4 dentists, and 2 nurses. Find how many possible teams include at least 2 doctors, at least 2 dentists, and at least 2 nurses. Okay. So we can't have 2, 2, 2. Okay. But here's what we can do. We can have 2 nurses. Okay. And we can have 2 dentists. So that makes a total of 4. Now we have to make a team of 9. So that means we have to include 5 doctors. Okay, so this can be done 6C5 into 4C2 into 2C2. ठीक है, whatever that is equal to. So 6C5 into 4C2 into 2C2, that's equal to 36. Okay, now let's see what's next. सर जैसे एक दफ़ा पहले बोला था just do it out of 7 because 2C2. हाँ, लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, ठीक है, but just to sort of understand the whole context of the question, I think it's important. Achha, we can't increase the number of nurses, so let's keep that at 2, okay? But we can increase the number of dentists, so let's increase that to 3. And let's, as far as the number of doctors are concerned, we'll have to bring that down to 4 because the total must remain 9. So that would be 6C4 for the doctors, 4C3 for the dentist, and 2C2 for the nurses. Okay, 2C2, you don't have to sort of type it every single time in your calculator, but it's a good idea to write it so you can see exactly what you're doing. And this is equal to 60. Now, then once again, let's keep the number of nurses at 2. Let's increase the number of dentists to 4, which means we'll now have to decrease the number of doctors to 3. Okay, so we have at least 2 of all 3. So this would be 6C3 into 4C4 into 2C2. Now, once again, there's no point in working out 4C4. There's no point in working out 2C2. So just do 6C3 in your calculator and that's it. Okay, and that's equal to 20. Now add them up. Let's see what you get. 36 plus 20 plus 60. That's equal to 116. There you go. All right. That's it. Job done. Actually, was there a question in February, March? If there was, let's do the February, March question. Although I think I have, but let's do it anyway. I think in February, March, the question was in paper 2. Let me have a look. Okay. Now, sir, there can also be 6 doctors. Sir, 6 doctors. तो ठीक है, इसमें क्या मसला है? अगर हम 6 डॉक्टर्स करते हैं तो फिर बेटा 6 डॉक्टर्स में प्रॉब्लम ये आएगी कि आप डेंटिस्ट कितने रखोगे? आपको डेंटिस्ट भी 2 रखने हैं और नर्सेस भी 2 रखनी है. So if you keep 6 doctors and then if you keep 2 dentists and 2 nurses, that makes 10. Okay, the team has to be of 9 people. So read the question. All right. A team of 10 players is to be chosen from 15 players. Find the number of different teams that can be chosen if there are no restrictions. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. 15C10. That's the answer. Okay, so 15C10, that's equal to 3003. Here we go. The 15 players include 3 sisters who must not be separated. Find the number of different teams that can be chosen. Okay, now what does this mean, who must not be separated? How do you make sure that the 3 sisters are not separated? How can you make sure that the 3 sisters are not separated? Question for you guys. Salam sir, your content helped me prepare, so I appreciate that. Mirza, good luck for your exam. मतलब या तो एग्जैक्टली मतलब सेपरेट वो जब होंगी ना जब कोई एक इंक्लूड हो जाएगी एक नहीं होगी, ठीक है, या 2 हो जाएंगी एक नहीं होगी. So the only way that you can make sure that they're not separated is by either if you include all 3 of them. If you don't include, you include neither of them. Simple as that. Okay, that's the way that you can make sure that the 3 sisters are not separated. Okay. All right. So let's consider scenario 1. Where all 3 are selected. Now, if all 3 are selected, what at least means exactly? At least means that equal to what it says after at least or more than that. Okay, so if, for example, I say that in order to get an A, you need at least 80%. So that means you could get 80% or you could get more than 80%. Okay, that's what it means. Now, if all 3 are selected, that means 3C3. Okay, but you still have to complete the team. Okay, you still have to select the remaining 7 players. Okay, and now you're no longer selecting from 15, you are now selecting from 12. So now there are 12 people to choose from because you've separated the sisters, you've selected all 3 of them. And now because you've already selected 3 people, that means you now only have to select 7. So that's 3C3 into 12C7. 3C3 into 12C7. What's that equal to? That's equal to 792. Achha, what's that, sir? I don't understand that language. Care to explain? What did I say? So, okay, I think I know what I said. The only way that you can make sure that they're not separated is by making sure that either all 3 of them are selected or all 3 of them are not selected. Okay, neither of them is selected. That's how you make sure that they're not separated. Okay, so the other scenario is that neither are selected. So why is your camera zoomed in live streams but zoomed out in live classes? Always wondered. Good question. Let me solve this, then I'll answer that. Neither is selected. Okay, so if neither is selected, that means 3C0. Or once again, you could totally not do 3C0. It's not going to make a difference. But here's the thing. You are now selecting from 12 people. Okay, so you're going to separate the sisters from the 15 people that you have to choose from. But you still have to select all 10 of them. Okay, you still have to select all 10 of them. So that's 12C10. Okay, so 12C10 into 3C0. What's that equal to? That's equal to 66. Now, these two are basically different ways of achieving the same result. Okay, these are different ways of achieving the same result. So that means we're not going to multiply them. We're going to add them. So 792 plus 66, what's that equal to? Why 12C10? Because you have 12 people to choose from, but you still have to select all 10 of them. Because neither sister is selected, that means we haven't selected anyone. From the 3 sisters, we don't select either of them. We don't select either one. Okay, so you still have to complete the team of 10 people, but now you have, 792. But now you have 12 people to choose from. Okay, so 792 plus 66. So 792 plus 66, what's that equal to? That's equal to 858. And that, fellas, is the answer. Okay. Now, a 6-digit number is to be formed using the digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm going to solve this question because this question is slightly more complex because there's a 0 here. Okay. Find how many 6-digit numbers can be formed if the 6-digit number is even. Okay. So we have to make sure that it's a 6-digit number, first of all. And obviously, if it starts with a 0, that means it's no longer a 6-digit number. It's a 5-digit number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also, keep in mind that the number is even. Okay. So if the number is even, that means you could have 0, 1. You could have 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 as the last digit. Okay, if the number is even, you could have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 as the last digit. But here's the problem. Here is the problem. The problem is that at a time, there's only going to be one number here. Okay, now what we're afraid of is the possibility that if in the last digit, the number that we select is not a 0, then that means there may be a 0 over here. Okay, there may be a 0 over here, which will result in this being a 5-digit number. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, here is what we're going to do. We're going to fix 0 as the last digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if I fix 0 as the last digit, that means I don't have to worry about what the first digit is. Okay, the first digit can be any number except for 0, and the end result will be a 6-digit number that is even. Okay, now how many numbers do we have? We have a total of 10 numbers, but now we have already used 1, so that means now we're down to 9. Okay, and we have how many places to fill? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 places to fill, or we have to arrange 5 of them. So that would be 9p5. So 9p5 into 1, what's that equal to? Let's work it out. 9p5, that's equal to 15,120. Okay, now what we're going to do is since we don't have to worry about 0 being the first digit, so that means now we have these many options for the last digit. Okay, and how many options are these? These are 4 options. Okay, but here's the thing. Be careful about the first digit. So we started off with 10 digits. Now, of the 10, only one will be in the last place. That means we're down to 9. But we can't have all 9 options over here. Okay, why? Because amongst those 9 numbers, there is a 0. And if you have a 0 as the last digit, as the first digit, that means it's no longer a 6-digit number. So instead, we have 8 options here. Okay. Now, once again, we started off with how many numbers? We started off with 10 different numbers. We've used 2 of them. That means now we're down to 8. And we have to arrange how many of those 8 numbers? We have to arrange 4 of them. So that would be 8p4. So 8 into 8p4 into 4. So 8 into 8p4 into 4, that's equal to 53,760. And what's that equal to? Add them up. So plus 15120, that's equal to 68,880. Okay? The only thing that you have to watch out for is the possibility that 0 ends up being the first digit. Okay? Why not 7p4? Okay, I'll explain, fellas. Dekho, reason why we have 8 options over here is because we were down to how many digits? After placing a digit in the last place, we were down to 9 digits. But amongst those 9 digits, there's a 0. So that means we can't have a 0 over here, can we? So even though we have 9 digits available, but we can only place 8 of those 9 digits in the first place. Okay? Now, remember, we started with how many digits? We started with 10. Now we've used 2. That means once again, we're down to how many? We're down to 8. Okay, so that's why we have 8p4 over here. ठीक है, ये नहीं कि यहाँ पे 8 है तो यहाँ पे 7 होगा. Use your common sense. We had 9 options here, but we couldn't use all 9 of them because if there was a 0 in the first place, that would result in the number being a 5-digit number. Okay. I have another approach, but it's lengthy. First, find with 0 at first, subtract from total. Usme not even and subtract from. Okay. Yeah, it will make your life worse. If you don't have any problems in your life, okay, and you're looking for problems, please go ahead. Otherwise, use this approach. Okay. So, यहाँ पे मैं लिख लेता हूँ. यहाँ पे there is a problem. The problem is if 0 is the first digit, then it will no longer be a 6-digit number. Okay, and also the question says that you can't start a number with 0. Sir, why is your cam? The thing is, Zoom doesn't allow you to change. I mean, it does allow, but I really don't have to sort of fix the camera anywhere in Zoom. But in live stream, there is a template in which I have to make sure that the camera is fixed. That's why. So why is your time and date always stuck and frozen? Wait, can you see the time and date? I thought I hid the time and date. That's an iPad thing, Vasu. Okay, that's an iPad thing. It every time you connect your iPad to a Mac or any Apple device, so it takes you back to the same time and the same date, and that's basically the time and date I think the first iPhone was released, maybe. And also, if you Google any iPhone, you will notice कि हमेशा एक ही time आता है, एक ही time date आता है, and that's this time. Acha, what's that? Sir, question 9, 2019, paper 21. Acha, how much time do we have? We have 15 minutes. So in the last 15 minutes, if you have any requests related to permutations and combinations, I'll take those. Okay? In the last 15 minutes. Sir, we miss your teaching in school. Yeah, I kind of miss teaching in school as well. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go back. Acha, Mariam, you didn't mention the paper, as in the session. You said 2019. अब वो summer है, winter है. Acha, last 15 minutes. If you guys have like a request, or if there's a specific question, acha, I found your other message. Never mind. So please do share it. Acha, what's that? Question number. ठीक है, I'll take that next. Question number. It better be permutation combination. Okay, let's do this. 11 different television sets are to be displayed in a line in a large shop. Find the number of different ways the televisions can be arranged. That would be 11 factorial, whatever that is equal to. Of these television sets, 6 are made by company A, 5 are made by company B. Find the number of different ways the televisions can be arranged so that no two sets made by company A are next to each other. Okay, no two sets made by company A are next to each other. Okay, this is a one-of-a-kind question. So here's how we solve these questions. Now, notice that there are 6 by company A and 5 by company B. So, कोई भी दो sets made by company A cannot be next to each other. Okay? So, here's what you can do. You can put them in alternate positions. Okay? You can do it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? So, you can do it like this. Like you have A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A. Okay, let's see if we have 6 of A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of B. There you go. So that means 6. So we're talking about A's first. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let's talk about B's. So that would be 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. In short, that would be 6 factorial into 5 factorial. Okay? No, we can't do that. We can't put all A together and subtract from total. Why? Because that would be that not all of them are together. Okay? If we do that, that means maybe 3 of them may still be together, maybe 2 of them still be together, 3, 4, 5 of them still be together. We can't do that. You can't do total minus together. Okay? So you have to be careful about that. It says no two sets made by company A are next to each other. So if we do that, so that means we have basically figured the number of ways in which all of them can't be together. Okay, which means maybe 5 of them are still together, 4 of them may still be together, 3, 2 of them may still be together. So 6 factorial into 5 factorial. Let me give you an alternative way also. So this is 86,400. Let me give you an alternative way also. So an alternative way is as follows. Pay attention. See, who is it that has that can't be together? A can't be together, right? So the television sets made by company B don't really have a problem with each other. They can't be together. So here's what we're gonna do: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so these are all B's. Okay, and they can shuffle amongst themselves. So that would be 5 factorial. Okay, so this is basically for the television sets made by company B. They can shuffle amongst themselves. So that would be 5 factorial. So now, as far as A is concerned. So whenever we're placing A, we'll have to make sure that we place them in between the television sets made by company B. So that means how many options do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means we have 6 options. Okay, so you can have a television set made by company A here, 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 or here. Okay, so there are altogether 6 places. Okay, and how many television sets do we have? We have 6 of them, so that would be 6p6. Okay, so work this out, you'll get the exact same answer, which is 86,400. Okay, so this is an alternative method. Okay, now a group of people is to be selected from 5 women and 3 men. Calculate the number of different groups of 4 people that have exactly 3 women. So if you have 3 women, so that means 3c3. Sorry, not 3c3, 5c3. Okay, now you still have to select how many people? You still have to make sure that you select 4 people. So that means if there are exactly 3 women, so the remaining 1 person has to be a man. So that's 3c1. There you go. So 5c3 into 3c1, that's equal to 30. Okay, calculate the number of different groups of at most 4 people where the number of women is the same as the number of men. Okay, now notice it says at most. At most means that it could be 4 or less than 4. Okay, but here's the thing. If it's at most 4 and the number of women has to be the same as the number of men, so that means it has to be an even number. It can't be an odd number because you've got to have an equal number of men and an equal number of women. So No, wait a minute. You can have 1 1 also. Sorry, my bad. 1 1 भी हो सकता है, 2 2 भी हो सकता है. हाँ, 1 1 हो सकता है, 2 2 हो सकता है. That's it. Yeah. So let's say that you have 1 woman and 1 man. Okay, now how do you make sure that you have 1 woman and 1 man? So there are 5 women to choose from, so that's 5C1. And there are 3 men to choose from, and you have to select 1. So that's 5C1 into 3C1. What's that equal to? That's equal to 15. Okay. Okay, now, what other possibility do we have? The other possibility that we have is that you have 2 women and 2 men. ठीक है, ये भी तो possible है. अच्छा, if you have 2 women and 2 men, now how many men do you have to choose from? You have, sorry, how many women do you have to choose from? You have 5. So that's 5C2. Okay, and you have 3 men to choose from, so that's 3C2. So 5C2 into 3C2, let's work that out. 5C2 into 3C2, that's equal to 30. So altogether, that's equal to 45. Okay, so good question. Disne bhi pucha. Now, let's do the next question. Acha, we have May, June 2023 question numbers. No, May, June 2017 question 5. ठीक है, सुने. Paper 2 variant 3. Find how many 5-digit numbers are there that have 5 different digits and are divisible by 5. Okay. So 1, 2, at most is opposite of at least. Yes, that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now be careful. The digits that you have are all these. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Omar beta, I didn't discontinue. ठीक है, बच्चों के पेपर हो रहे थे इस वजह से मैं रुक गया. I will take like 1 or 2 more classes before the exam, probably more since we have time. So it says how many 5-digit numbers are there that have 5 different digits and are divisible by 5. Okay, how do you make sure that the number is divisible by 5? By either having a 0 or a 5 in the last place. So that means we can have a 0 as the last digit, so that's just one option. Okay, now if you have 0 as the last digit, so that means you start with 10 digits, okay, and you've already selected 1, so that means now you're down to 9, okay, and here you have to use 4 of them, so that's 9p4. Okay, so 9p4 times 1, 9p4 times 1, that's equal to 3024. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another way that you can make sure that the number is divisible by 5 is by having a 5 at as your last digit. Okay, now here is where things can be a little tricky. Now we've used 5. That means technically we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 digits, but we can't use all 9 of them. Okay, because we can't have a 0 in the first place. So that means we have 8 options for the first place. Okay, and now once again, we started with 10, now we've used 2, so that means we're down to 8, and we have to use how many? We have to arrange how many of those 8? We have to arrange 3 of those. So that's 8p3. Okay, so let's see what do we get. 8 into 8p3 times 1, that's equal to 2688. 2688. Now let's add them up. 2688 plus 3024, that's equal to 5712. ठीक हो गया? Okay. A committee of 8 people is to be selected from 9 men and 5 women. Find the number of different committees that can be selected if the committee must have at least 4 women. Once again, why can't we use 4? Why can't we use 0? Because if you use 0, then is it really a 5-digit number? No, it's not. So 1, actually no, wait, this is selection. So we're talking about selection, so that means this is combination. बेटा अपना थोड़ा अकल इस्तेमाल करो. अगर 0 हमने यूज़ कर लिया as the first place, then it's no longer going to be a 5-digit number. I mean, I'm surprised I have to explain that, but if you use 0 as the first digit, then it's no longer a 5-digit number. Okay, if from the 5 digits, 0 is the first digit, then it's not a 5-digit number. It's a it's a 4-digit number. Okay, so here the question says 5-digit होगा. 5-digit कैसे होगा बेटा? उस नंबर के 5 digits बेशक होंगे, लेकिन वो itself 5-digit number नहीं होगा. If the committee must have at least 4 women. Alright, so we have how many women to choose from? We have 5 women to choose from, and we have 9 men to choose from. Okay, so that means we could have 4 women, and we have to make a team committee of 8, so that means we gotta have 4 men, so that would be 5C4 into 9C4. Okay, we could have 5 women, that means we gotta have 3 men, so that would be 5C3 into, 5C5. 5C5 into 9C3. Okay, now we can't increase the number of women because we only have 5 women to choose from. Okay, so that's 5C4 into 9C4. What's that equal to? That's equal to 630. And then we have 9C3. What's that equal to? That's equal to 84. Let's add them up. Acha, any last requests that you guys have? I'm just going to take one more request. 714. There you go. This is enough? Hard question. तो बता दें बेटा कोई if you have a hard question. 100k subs before next session? I doubt it, but let's see. Let's see. We only have like 5-6 days left. So I guess that's it. Let's keep it till here only. Tomorrow, inshallah, at 7:30 p.m. there will be a mock. Okay, so be prepared. I will see you guys, inshallah, 100k pe meetup. Let's see if let's see. First, let's reach 100k, then we'll decide what we need to do. Okay, is there any stream? No, tomorrow just the mock. Just mock exam. Tomorrow 7:30 p.m. inshallah there will be a mock exam. Okay, and I'm gonna make a very difficult mock, so just be mentally prepared. Okay, so I'll stop here. I'll see you guys inshallah. Thank you, Mariam. I'll see you guys inshallah tomorrow. So take care everyone. Allah Hafiz.